Hi, I'm George. Welcome to MedEV. Today, let's focus on the US market. There are millions of affordable yet excellent EVs being made in China every single year, but none of them can be found in America. Have you ever wondered why? Tesla Model Y is the best-selling model across all categories in China. But what behind the huge success are the gigafactory and the supply chain supported by the government. However, Washington is pretty clear on fending off every Chinese automaker, employing tough measures to stifle them long before even getting closer to the US soil. So let's talk about if there's still a chance for American consumers to buy Chinese EVs. Nowadays, Chinese EVs are going global, which is pretty similar to what Japanese cars did over 40 years ago, taking the world by storm with their cost-effectiveness, fuel consumption, and reliability. From 1975 to 1980, Japanese car exports increased 4 times, doubling their market share in the US. In response, Uncle Sam forced Japan to limit their exports to 1.7 million units per year, making them to build factories in America, thus increasing investment and creating jobs. And today, similar countermeasures are happening again with Chinese car makers. The US imposes an additional 25% tariff on top of the 2.5% import tariff. There are also policies like the Indo-Pacific Economic Framework, the CHIPS and Science Act, and the Inflation Reduction Act, all aim to boost manufacturing and maintain control over core industries such as chips and batteries. Additionally, the US offers a tax credit of up to $7,500 for EV using local components and assembled locally, making it near impossible for Chinese EVs to enter. The last time Chinese car makers appeared in the United States was at the Detroit Auto Show in January 2019. I was there at that time. JAC brought a concept car and announced plans to sell their Trumpy GS8, an SUV targeted Toyota Highlander. They even started recruiting dealerships, but as the tariffs get tougher, the plan never goes through. If exporting cars directly becomes impossible, is it possible to take a detour through other countries? Some car makers are indeed exploring this option. Last month, Polestar, Geely Holdings, and Renault Korea reached an agreement to produce Polestar 4 at Renault's Busan factory. Besides supplying the local Korean market, the aim is also for North America. In this way, the additional 25% tariff can be avoided. And you might not know that Geely brought 34% stake in Renault Korea in 2022, so it's actually a smart way to navigate around the regulations and make the most out of the situation. But what I want to talk about next can have a far bigger impact on the two countries. That's Mexico. In the first half of 2023, Mexico became the top US importer, totaling $236 billion, surpassing Canadians' $210 billion and the Chinese $203 billion. For the past 13 years, China has been the one holding that spot. This shift is mainly due to Americans nearshoring, outsourcing the industry chain to neighbors. To stay competitive in the North American market, production must be localized, making Mexico a preferred choice for many companies, including the Chinese ones. China is now Mexico's second-largest trading partner, and Mexico is China's second-largest trading partner in Latin America. Some Chinese automobile and component manufacturers are exploring the possibility of building factories in Mexico or collaborating with local agents. Companies like SAIC, BYD, and Chery are discussing with the Mexico government to set up factories. There's also another Chinese company plans to invest 12 billion US dollars for a battery factory. Over the past 6 years, Chinese car makers' market share in Mexico has grown from 0 to nearly 20%. However, the biggest challenge lies in the industrial chain. From 2017 to 2022, Mexico's rapid growth in exports made its trade deficit increase from 11 billion to 26 billion US dollars. The weak upstream industrial chain means that the more cars they export, the more they import components like chips and engines, leading to a more imbalanced external trade. This is also the major roadblock to replacing Made in China for nearshoring in the United States. China is called the world's factory not just because of the cheap labor, but because of the much better industrial chain, infrastructure, and execution. It took the country more than 30 years, and it won't be quicker for others to do the same. This indirect approach might be the best shot for the Chinese EVs to enter the United States, and those EV makers certainly aren't hiding their intention to do so. 3 months ago, the United Auto Workers led a strike against the 3 major automakers, so the labor costs will become higher, leading companies to prefer fewer models and greater profits. Eventually, the American cars will become the opposite of the cost-effective. This appears to be an opportunity for Chinese EVs, similar to what happened to Japanese cars 40 years ago. Yet, things are now very different. Entering the United States means overcoming higher tariffs, adapting to complex regulation, building logistic, sales, and service network, and persuading biased politicians. And perhaps the last one is arguably the most pivotal. Why did William Li and others get treated with only a locked door in the United States, while Elon Musk received such a warm welcome in China? And why can Chinese consumers choose from a wide range of excellent EVs while Americans can't have the same opportunities? Thank you for watching, and see you next time.